And we're live, everybody. Welcome in. It is Tuesday, 2:30 p.m. Central, January 2nd of 2024. I hope you had a fantastic new year. Thank you so much for joining me today. I haven't seen you since last year, y'all. It's been so long. Ha. What a great joke. Thank you. Come on in. We have a lot to talk about. Tesla released their fourth quarter and full year 2023 delivery and production numbers. And I want to use this forum to talk a little bit about what that means for 2024, what it means for the broader auto market. And then we'll do a Q&A session at the end as well, just for fun, just to ring in the new year as best as we can here. And if you're joining us live, thank you so much. And if you're on recording, make sure you pull up the live comments in YouTube so you can follow along with what the crowd is talking about. So thank you so much. Sit down. Let's have a nice conversation as best we can on YouTube. Okay, so in case you missed this, these are the production delivery numbers from Tesla. 484,000 produced in the year, 408 in the quarter, in the fourth quarter of 2023, 484,000 delivered. Of note, the other models, quote unquote, which includes the S and the X, the 23,000 number delivery is the highest that Tesla has had in the last 5 years for the Model S and X. This is going to include a little bit of Cybertruck, very little bit, probably like 100 units, maybe 200. But the best S and X deliveries they've had in the last 5 years in a quarter, which is great, obviously, for the company. 1.85 million produced for full year 2023, 1.8 million delivered. Now, if you look at what the analysts were expecting, this is basically right in line, a very slight beat, but this is where Tesla guided to at the beginning of the year. They said 1.8 million. Aspirationally, Elon Musk, the CEO, said they would try to get to 2, but clearly that didn't pan out. But 1.8 was directly in line with what they guided, and they were able to hit that. Now, what's interesting to look at, here's a graph from Electrify, Dylan Loomis. Shout out Dylan, love you, brother. Here's a graph from him that explains sort of how this has occurred in the trajectory of the company. From 2020, Tesla set a goal of 50% growth per year from 2020 moving forward. And you can see that the 2023 number is actually ahead of expectations back from 2020 at the 1.8 million number. If you do that compounded 50% growth from 2020, the expectation would have been around 1.7 million. They hit 1.8 million, so they are slightly ahead of expectations from back in 2020. However, in 2024, if you continue that 50% growth rate, we would expect something close to 2.5 to 2.6 million units. However, that's very likely not to be hit unless something extraordinary happens. And the reason why that's the case is from Tesla's guidance, it looks like they're going to hunker down and try to really build out their factories as best as they can as they stand today. So they're going to ramp up the Tesla Gigafactory in Texas. They're going to ramp up Berlin as well as much as they can in Fremont and Shanghai as they build out their factory in Mexico and they get the Cybertruck production ramped up. So that number, I don't believe, is within reach. If I were to guess, and this is where we'll start our predictions for 2024, and I can't wait to revisit these at the end of the year to see how wrong I was, and you'll join it with me. I hope you'll be there with me. I expect Tesla to deliver somewhere between 2.1 to 2 million units in the year of 2024. Now, of course, if you compare it to this previous graph we had here, I just gave away my next one. Damn. This is, of course, short of the 50% year-over-year growth rate from 2020. They would be short by about 200,000 to 300,000, maybe slightly more. But I think it's important to keep in mind that when Tesla gave that goal of 50%, they said on average they would grow 50% per year for the foreseeable future with potential down years. And I think 2024 will be a quote-unquote down year for Tesla as it pertains to that 50% growth rate. But with the compact car launching very likely in 2025, if not 2026, and the Cybertruck ramping and Model Y continuing to sell, Model 3 continuing to sell, I think Tesla is set up for 50% growth rate into the future. Very, very likely. Not investment advice, not financial advice, but that's what the numbers seem like they're being pointing us towards, is that trend will continue. Now, with that being said, I do expect the energy part of the business for Tesla to continue to grow a lot more than it has been. Partly because they are hunkering down and focusing on getting the car business as smooth as they can before they launch the compact and they ramp the Cybertruck. I think this is going to open up a lot of capacity for the company to grow energy by more than 75% in 2024, if not double. I believe this is one of the untold stories of 2024 as it pertains to Tesla, especially if you perceive it from a, let's say, legacy media, mass media standpoint. This will probably not get a lot of coverage, but I fully expect this to happen. Now, I'm going to show you some numbers, very, very small, but I'll talk you through it so you don't have to freaking zoom in into your screen too much. The energy sales for the company in the third quarter of 2023 was about $1.6 billion. And the cost was about $1.2 billion. What that basically means is that Tesla's making about $300 million of gross profit from their energy business, which is about 24% gross margin. What we're going to see more than likely, I believe, in 2024 is this number could double, as much as double, and also bring the profits forward with that. And so what this is going to create, I believe, is again, this is my prediction. It's probably going to be wrong, but we'll see. I think it's going to start shifting a lot of the narrative that, let's say outsiders are looking at Tesla as just a car company. I think they're going to start truly looking at it very differently because of the growth from energy. And so I expect that to be the case in 24. We'll see if that comes to fruition. Again, that capacity being opened up from not having to focus so much on cars and trying to get a bunch of factories up and running and just, making them as efficient as possible will allow Tesla to focus on things other than cars. And this includes things like full self-driving in the bot, etc. But the energy foundation is already laid out for them to really grow on, which is obviously, if you're somebody who follows Tesla closely, it's a very exciting thing. I also fully expect the Model Y to be the best-selling car again in 2024, best-selling EV for sure, but then also best-selling car, period. It's looking like the Model Y will have that crown in 2023, best-selling EV and best-selling car, period, in 2023. I expect that to be the case again in 2024. Probably a safe bet. I want to get at least one right, okay? But that's likely to be the case. Now, I do think that we'll see our first FSD license deal of some sorts in 2024 where Tesla will partner with another company as it pertains to full self-driving software. This is the self-driving software that Tesla uses in its current cars, where the car can, drive around, and sort of the design is after a while, person will not have to pay attention while the car drives itself. I believe this will be the first year where they announce some sort of partnership. This is something that Elon Musk has previously said that they're working with another company. There's no done deal, but they're talking to other companies on licensing the software. I think 2024 will be the first year. And I think it'll be Ford. I think it'll be Ford that will come forward and announce the partnership with Tesla. What's interesting about Ford is that Ford has been very sort of ahead of the curve when it comes to, as it pertains to legacy automakers specifically. I think Ford has been ahead of the curve as far as trying to build a sort of reputation that they are indeed paying attention to the trends in the auto market, specifically to electric vehicles. And they have partnered in the past with Tesla. So when it comes to the supercharger network, the NACS, the North American Charging Standard, which now essentially every other automaker outside of a couple will now adopt moving forward, which was initially Tesla's plug. They designed the plug. I think that's a trend that says they're paying close attention to what Tesla's doing. And I think Tesla will have a software suite this year that's going to really surprise a lot of people. And I think Ford will be one of the ones to capitalize on that. In addition to that, kind of loosely, I really do think that Tesla's FSD this year, and I saw somebody quoted me earlier before we went live. I made this post on X where I said the narrative will change from FSD, full self-driving, not working, to nobody will trust it. And that's just some commentary from me that basically what I'm trying to communicate there is full self-driving has been this piece of software that it has been forever coming. Elon Musk has been way too optimistic about it. So have I, about its ability to truly become full self-driving. But I think with this version 12 update, this is probably going to sound like Groundhog's Day, but I really do think we're at the point now where this software will finally catch fire. It will become clear that this is the future of self-driving vehicles, that software suite will solve for it. But then you'll still have resistance, obviously, because any new technology, any disruption is going to have a lot of resistance to it. And it should transition, I believe, from people just not believing it's going to happen to being like, oh man, I'm not going to trust that. That's crazy. I'm going to let a car drive me around. And that's when you know something has happened, right? So that's what I'm going to keep my ears open for. I do expect that to happen this year. Can't wait to be wrong on that one again. We'll see about that. Okay, next prediction. Cybertruck, I think, will be the best-selling EV truck in the United States. This is probably somewhat semi-safe, but I think a lot of people are expecting the electric vehicle segment in the US to not grow too much because of all the other legacy automakers pulling back a lot of their plans. You still have Rivian doing really well, but I do think one of the trends that has started to happen, like companies like Rivian and Ford with their F-150 Lightning, is that we've seen this sort of peak demand when it comes to their pickup trucks. So the Rivian R1T, which is Rivian's pickup truck, it's tough to see if it's getting as many sales as it previously was, because now with the R1S ramping, which is their SUV, that seems to be taking a lot of sales from the R1T, as well as F-150 Lightning just kind of becoming not really selling nearly as much as Ford hoped. And so in reality, Tesla will need to ship, I believe, somewhere around 50 to 60,000 Cybertrucks in 2024, which I think is achievable for them in the United States. And with that number, they should be the largest EV truck maker in the United States relatively easily. And so I expect that to happen. It might be surprising to a lot of people because this thing has a crazy shape. Do I have it in the background? I forget. I do. I mean, you can barely see it, but it has a crazy shape, and a lot of folks are expecting it to maybe be more of a niche product, but I just don't think so. I think it's going to perform a lot better than people think. And along those lines, again, this might be an out there one, I think Cybertruck will be called the car of the year by Motor Trend. Motor Trend is a very prestigious automotive publication. They've done really good work for a really long time, and they do this thing every year where they say car of the year, blah. And back in 2012, 2013, the Model S won the Car of the Year award from Motor Trend because of all the new technology that the car brought forward. It kind of broke their scoring system in a way because it was so different and just so much better than any other car at that time. And I think Cybertruck is going to have a very similar type of impact when it comes to Motor Trend reviewing the vehicle and really figuring out which car should be car of the year. If you look at all the initial reviews from different publications like Haggerty, MKBHD, Top Gear, CarWow, the biggest thing that I'm seeing come across and hearing from people that have the truck is that the way the truck drives is very unique and different and unexpected because of primarily not just because of the EV drivetrain. You have a super smooth drive, just like the Rivian, just like the F-150 Lightning, but the steer-by-wire system, I think, is going to create the same level of, I guess, shock and surprise that one pedal driving did and the quick torque and acceleration did with the Model S. And when EVs first came out from Tesla, that were actually people were really appreciating the handling and the smoothness in the acceleration. I think steer-by-wire, which is Tesla, sort of the Cybertruck's innovation when it comes to using their 48-volt architecture and using the steer-by-wire system to make the lock-to-lock turn. You only have to go like this to go basically 100% left or 100% right, let's say. And the smoothness of that, I think, is going to surprise a lot of people, and it's going to make a very large car feel a lot smaller than it actually is. So I think that's going to allow the truck to perform really well in reviews moving forward. Okay, and as a bonus, before we get into Q&A, I want to do some predictions for the auto industry as well, because I can't wait to be even more wrong on things for this year. So there's a lot of articles today from legacy media covering the sort of Tesla delivering production number, but also putting it side by side to BYD, which is a Chinese automaker. And a lot of the headlines are China's BYD overtakes Tesla's electric car sales in the last quarter of 2023. A lot of people I've seen are kind of upset by that verbiage, but they claim that it's kind of subduing Tesla's performance in Q4 because they did set a record. They did perform really well. They met expectations, slightly exceeded them. And legacy media saying, well, look at how BYD beat them, right? But this is a factually correct statement when it comes to coverage from legacy media, really even any media. I mean, even I try to be very respectful, but you want people to sort of click on your content, right? This is a perfect example of that. China's BYD overtakes Tesla's electric car sales in the last quarter of 2023. But I do think this lends to the broader story here that I do think BYD will be the biggest EV maker in the world in 2024. They'll probably outsell Tesla, probably by quite a good margin, a healthy margin in 2024, especially if Tesla is selling somewhere between 2.1 to 2.2 million vehicles in the year. Now, folks that follow the story maybe loosely or say they're not as big a fan of Tesla, they might view that as a huge failure for Tesla. Oh, look, there's another automaker coming through that's going to do better than Tesla. That means Tesla's screwed. But I view it in a different manner. The way I view it is that if you have a player like BYD that's able to sell even more EVs than Tesla does, I think that proves that there's global demand for electric vehicles. And it's not just this niche thing, this small thing that Tesla is able to sell to just, let's say, rich people that just want EVs, or just a very small segment of the population. The fact that a completely different player is able to sell more EVs than Tesla means that there's a lot of demand out there for EVs. And if anything, this bodes really well for Tesla because of that. If you look at Tesla's profitability versus a player like BYD, BYD makes about 5% profit on the whole business. They don't just sell EVs, they sell gas cars as well. If we put it in this chart here from BYD, you can see that they have battery electric vehicles and plug-in hybrid electric vehicles, so they sell both. They make 5% on the complete business. And it's kind of tough to tell how much profit they're making on their electric vehicles, but all in, they're making about 5% in the company, about 50% less than 30 to 50% less than Tesla right now as it stands. But what this implies for the future moving forward is that Tesla is going to be able to grow profits and grow sales because BYD is proving that there's a market for electric vehicles. So really the companies here that should be very concerned are your legacy automakers, your automakers that like Lucid and newcomers that are not performing nearly as well as a Tesla or BYD where they're growing. Rivian as well has been growing. They have a little bit of a concerning sign here in Q4 that I want to highlight, but BYD's success proves that Tesla is in it for the long haul, for a very long time. So if you don't think that, I encourage you to double check the story. On X, I take sort of a sarcastic tone because it's funny when it comes to folks that really doubt Tesla as a company, its future trajectory. But yeah, I just highly encourage you to do that because I think you're missing a very large trend. Not because I want you to invest in the company or nothing, but I just want you to really focus on what's going on from the full picture. And a story like this proves that electric vehicles are not just here to stay, but they're here to take over, especially in places like China, the United States, and the first world countries, Western markets. It'll go into, I think, the other markets as well into the next decade. So my next prediction for the auto industry is that I think Rivian will be the number 2 best-selling EV maker in 2024 in the United States. Right now, that crown is held by Ford. But I think Rivian is uniquely positioned because they do have some pretty unique products that I think people do enjoy. The Rivian R1T truck, even though the sales look like they've peaked, it's still a really good truck. People seem to really enjoy it. The R1S, which is their 3-row full-size SUV, is selling like hotcakes. They have this delivery van that their contract with Amazon has ended in a way, and they're able to sell this van to even more players. So they have the right product portfolio. And my drugs seem to agree about Rivian's success. They're going crazy. But I think if we sort of think about that moving forward, I do think Rivian is positioned to perform really well. However, I want to bring up some concerns about Rivian. In the fourth quarter of 2024, they had about 10% less deliveries versus the third quarter, and which is the red bar, and the blue bar is production, and the red bar is deliveries. This is the fourth quarter. They had about 10% less deliveries, and they had even more production. So there's sort of this gap that has opened up, a pretty big gap between production and deliveries. However, Rivian sort of guided to this coming into the fourth quarter because they said, there's going to be delivery vans that Amazon's not going to take this quarter. They're going to take it next quarter and the first quarter. But I think this is bear paying attention to because as Cybertruck ramps, which is going to compete directly with one of Rivian's primary products, the R1T, we could have a situation where Rivian's overall sales in 2024 could stall. It could stall. All I'm saying is something we should be paying attention to if you follow the EV story closely. If it does stall, it means that Rivian's current product offering is probably not set for growth. They probably have to come out with something different, something maybe more affordable, maybe differentiate themselves further from a brand like Tesla, Lucid, and every other car maker. But just something to pay attention to. Even with that being said, I do think they have the chance to become the second best selling EV in the United States, toppling Ford. So, and I think Ford still, I like their leadership. I like Jim Farley a lot. I really do. But boy, do they have a tough hill to climb. And I think their best route for success is to partner with companies like Tesla to try and bring in their technology into their company as much as they can, which is sort of a trend, I think, in the long term that I see more and more, where we're going to have more and more vehicles, EVs, powered by Tesla, charged by Tesla, visioned by Tesla, that I think will set a really good differentiator between that brand and everybody else. Because it's proven, I mean, with the fact that Tesla keeps breaking records and growing, I think it proves that Tesla's technology is one that's wanted over others, right? That's just my take on it. I'd love to hear yours. And last but not least, before we get into Q&A, I think Mary Barra, GM CEO, will announce her retirement in 2024. You know, we're very big fans of Mary Barra in this channel. We invoke her name quite often. I've never met her. I'm sure she's a wonderful human being, truly. But I do think GM is in a really weird trajectory. I think the fact that they've discontinued their most affordable EV in the Bolt, discontinued. They're supposed to bring it back and rebadge it after 2024, but I don't even know what that's going to look like. It's going to leave this sales vacuum in 2024 for them. Especially as the Blazer EV has been delayed, sort of their ramp has been delayed. The Silverado EV, the pickup truck, has been delayed. Their overall EV plans have been delayed. You know, they've talked about this and they want to be smart about capital management and, you know, deploying cash, and they want to be careful not to eat into their ability to, you know, generate cash, and they want to be smart about how they use their money. Yeah, that makes sense. You have an investor base that you have to sort of cater when it comes to that. But that is the opposite of what needs to happen when it comes to the EV story. And I think there might be a shift in sort of how people are thinking about EVs in 2024, where I think more and more people are going to realize that it's very clear where this is going. And if you're an automaker that doesn't have the ability to make a lot of EVs relatively quickly and make a lot of EVs that are affordable, especially as Tesla's compact car launches and BYD continues to grow, your company is going to stop making money. It's just going to stop making money. They're not going to buy your gas cars. They're not going to buy your gas pickup trucks. You'll still be able to sell some of them, but not enough to keep your factories fed so that you can actually generate money, and instead you might be losing money. And so we'll see. This is, you know, out there prediction, but I just want to highlight that I do think GM is in a weird spot. It's in a very weird spot. There are many other legacy automakers that are in a very weird spot as well. But I do think there's a chance, you know, just retire while everything's good, you know. Your investors seem to be happy. You know, maybe pursue something else, maybe get into politics or something. So anyway, those are my predictions for 2024. Let's do some Q&A. Let's get into it. Thank you all so much for stepping in. Really appreciate you. If you want me to pull up your question, what would really help, and I can get questions from both X and YouTube, just put question right before your question in all caps. It will help me highlight them, and we'll discuss what you have to say here for a few, and then we'll wrap it up until tomorrow. Let's see. Okay. Dogs are the best. I agree. We have 2 dogs and we love them very much. Let's see. Expect, from Bruno Smith, expect Barra to pump GM stock this year as she aims for a profitable exit. You know, they kind of done that already with their buyback. They announced a buyback at the end of last year, and they announced that buyback after being approved for loans from the U.S. government to build out their EV infrastructure, you know, to build more EVs. And then quickly after that, they announced that they're slowing down their EV plans, even though they have access to loans from the government. It's just very weird. It's just very, very weird. I don't get it. So this would be a very traditional move if Mary was to do this. You know, it would be smart, I guess. It would be very smart if she tries to get the stock in a place where when she retires, maybe she can sell some stock and be in really good shape financially, which she has more than every right to do that. But if that were the case, if we're seeing, I think what's interesting, if we're seeing a lot of that rhetoric coming out of Mary and out of the company, that's like, they're really pumping up the stock. They're like, profits look amazing. We should do that already. But if they hear even more of that, that probably means that there's something brewing. But again, this is just a prediction. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just predicting it. So we'll see. Next question. How's producer mom? Thank you for that question. She's doing great. So in case for folks that missed the announcement, my wife and I are expecting a baby boy May 25th of this year, and so we're we're gonna change her title from producer wife to producer mom once little baby boy comes. But thank you for asking. She's doing fantastic. Thank you. Very, very nice. Question from X from Innovating. When do you think they'll announce the new Model 3? Yeah, so we're still waiting on that to happen. I saw that they have this refresh Model 3 in other parts of the world, China and Europe, and we're still waiting for that to happen in the US. I saw a picture of a refresh Model 3 in Fremont in California. I'm assuming that they're testing. I expected them to launch this last quarter in the US, and they haven't. So probably this quarter. I would be surprised if they don't announce it in the next couple quarters, to be honest, but I think Q1, Q2 of this year makes a whole lot of sense. And I'll go out on a limb and say April 3rd, and on April 3rd, they'll announce the new Model 3 in the US. So we'll see. How soon for the robots? May, June will be for Tesla or SpaceX. I'm assuming you're asking about the Tesla bot. Yeah, I mean, a lot of the footage we've seen from Tesla as of late has been super impressive. I do think that they'll probably have a working bot in their factories probably sometime next year. It'll do some very basic stuff, I think. Just pick up boxes, just moving material from one place to another, which is a really helpful task in a manufacturing supply chain environment, believe it or not. And so maybe as early as that, we'll see it. But I don't think the public is going to get access to purchase the bot until maybe 2026 or later, 2027. I think it's going to be a way for Tesla to lower costs initially and test out the framework, test out the software, test out the hardware internally. They'll get the benefit from that in their margins, obviously, because it's going to reduce the cost to build things, because now you're using a lot of automated things. A human or robot is automated. And so once they prove that out, they'll move into their selling phase for people. That's my expectation. I could be wrong, but because if they do sell it to other people, they'll get a lot of data, and the data is what helps these systems do better. So maybe they go that route. Who knows? We'll see. Let's see. Media Cafe Online on YouTube. Question: BYD sold 1.6 million battery-only passenger cars in 2023. Tesla sold 1.8. All legacy media headlines are wrong. EV does not equal hybrid. Yeah, so I think what they're saying, media... Great question. What a question. I think what they're saying is that in the fourth quarter of 2023, BYD outsold Tesla in BEVs, which is correct. That's a correct statement. And of course, they're not going to, we know how legacy media works. They're not going to make everything like super clear in the title. They're just going to get some people to click on it, right? But I do think in 2024, this will definitely be the case. And again, it's not a bad thing, right? I think when people view this as like in a negative way, I think about it the completely opposite way. BYD selling more than Tesla proves that there's a market for EVs. And because Tesla makes so much more money than BYD when it comes to making electric vehicles, plus they have the Tesla bot. There go my dogs again. Plus they have energy. This sets them up really well for the rest of the year in 2024. I'm so sorry, you guys. Is somebody up front? We'll see. Okay. Let's see what else we got. Somebody I don't even know who's downstairs. My wife just opened the door. What are your predictions for new locations for gigafactories, lithium refineries, and megafactories? Yeah, there's been a lot of talk about this. I think probably... there's been a lot of rumors about India. I think India will definitely be the next one after Mexico. I think we're definitely going to see that come to fruition. I think there might be another one in Europe. I know the UK has been one that's been rumored. There's been one in Canada. But if I were to ask like the next one, I think it's definitely going to be India, the one that's going to be the new location. Then after that, we'll see. Maybe even Australia. So we'll see. But I think India will definitely be the next one. All right, let's do a few more. The dogs know what's up. The dogs are crazy, bro. For those that are wondering, we have a little Chihuahua and a mutt. Like she's like 9 breeds. She's mostly I don't even know. She's like 15% of like 5 different breeds. So big mud. Bot is the trigger word for the dogs, right? For sure. All right. Question. Do you think Tesla will announce next gen car this year? Yeah, the next gen car, this compact car, is a very interesting conversation because I think if Tesla were to announce the car, it's going to be counterproductive because it's going to be such a low cost. And, you know, if the Cybertruck has over a 2 million unit backlog, this compact car is going to have a 5 million unit backlog, maybe even more. And so what I would want Tesla to do is to build out the capacity, build out the factory, get the supply chain set up. We're probably going to see a lot of leaks as that happens. So like, you know how with the iPhone, we kind of know what the iPhone already is before like 9 months before they actually unveil it. That's because Apple has set up the supply chain where 9 months before they unveil it, really, they have everything set up, and all they're doing, they're just spooling production. They're trying to get all the pieces in place. They're trying to, hone in the manufacturing process, and then that entire supply chain just leaks. It just leaks. But that's what's going to happen if you're going to do stuff at large volumes. You need a lot of people involved. And so with the compact car, I think we're going to see something really similar. We'll probably see leaks about the compact car way before this thing gets announced. And how I would want Tesla to announce the compact car, if it were me, if I was Elon Musk, which I'm not, but if I were, what I would do is I would do that. I would let stuff leak because people are going to buy this freaking car anyway. And then test the car, get the mules out there, get them covered up, make them look like just put, how they cover the panels and the headlights and stuff. Just do that. Just keep doing that. Don't even acknowledge it. Just freaking ignore it. Let it take a life of its own. And then literally 2 weeks, get it? 2 weeks before production starts, like actual production starts, just open up the configurator on the website and just say, hey, if you want a compact car, you can buy it now. And just do that. And then I bet you, not only will the internet be on fire, but everyone is going to be like, what the hell just happened? Tesla just came out with a $25,000 car. The reason why I think that's smart is, number one, it lowers the chance of that car cannibalizing the Model Y and the Model 3. The one thing you don't want to do is to disrupt your basically your meat and potatoes of the business. The Model Y and Model 3 combined in 2024 will probably sell 2 million plus cars, right? So you definitely don't want to disrupt that. That's your moneymaker. And so announcing it ahead of time, you're going to have that issue. You're going to have that issue big time. So just do that. And I think that will happen in 2025. I think that will happen let's do another prediction. This is the 2025 prediction. No, I'm going to say we're 2025. Come on now. Have some freaking, what is it called? I'm blanking on the word. Just be more measured. What was my New Year's resolution? Just, temper expectations. Will Tesla buy more Bitcoin in 2024? I don't think so. I think I think that was a Zach Kirkhorn thing. And I kind of liked that they bought Bitcoin, honestly. It's like, quote unquote, on brand with the company. They're just out there just doing crazy stuff, and I love that they do that. But I don't think they'll buy more. I think the investors were definitely spooked when Bitcoin took a dive, and I don't know. We'll see. All right, let's do maybe one more. Will compact car have an Osborne effect more on cheap BYD or Tesla? So I think BYD sells regardless of what Tesla does, because I think BYD has set itself up as the like the Android of auto, right? The one analogy I like to use a lot of people have used this too. Like, I don't want to sound like I made this up, but the analogy of Tesla's Apple, BYD's Samsung sort of thing, right? Or Tesla's Apple, BYD's Android. That resonates with me deeply, because if you look at how the auto market is built right now, in 2024, BYD is going to sell more EVs than Tesla, more than likely, but they'll have a fraction of the profits from that car division, from that EV car division. And then Tesla's going to sell less than BYD and every other Chinese automaker, but they're going to have like 95% of the profits. And so I think BYD just works in a whole different market. I think BYD has already carved itself this sort of market that says you just want affordable point A to point B machines and, bang for your buck, especially in the Chinese market. Just buy the freaking BYD, and then Tesla can be like your status symbol-y thing that does more, has an ecosystem built around it that's superior, has sort of this vibe to it that makes you feel good about yourself. I don't freaking know, right? But that's sort of the Apple thing. Apple has like 17% of the total phone market in the world, maybe less now, and the rest of it is Android, like Samsung, those companies. But Apple has like 95% of the profits, 90% of the profits, right? So that's what I see happening here. So the compact car will not have an Osborne effect on BYD. It may have a slight Osborne effect on Y and 3. And that's something you'll definitely want to mitigate by delaying the announcement of this car for sure. But where it's really going to have an impact is legacy automakers, for sure. Like for sure. Because this thing now is going to become the cheapest cost per mile transportation system you can buy. If Tesla's successful with full self-driving, it will also be able to drive freaking itself, which is going to be absolutely insane. And it's going to have much better driving dynamics. I don't know what I just did. Oh, I made your comment go away. Sorry. It's going to have much better driving dynamics than a gas car because of the one pedal driving, because of the low center of gravity, probably because of drive-by-wire. This compact car is probably going to have drive-by-wire. It's going to be on a 48-volt system. It's going to be way more convenient than driving a gas car, especially if you can charge at home. If you have a way to charge while you're resting, you never have to go to a gas station ever again. If you're in the Northeast, I used to live in PA, in Pennsylvania, for 17, almost 20 years. I hated going to the gas station in wintertime, freezing my you-know-what off, trying to fuel my gas car. It's like it sucked. It sucked. So being able to not do that with an EV is going to be better. It's going to be much better. So on and so on and so on. Better infotainment, better sound system, blah, 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 blah. And you can get that in a car that probably is not going to break down. One of the big things about electric vehicles that doesn't get talked about enough is that they're incredibly, incredibly reliable. From my personal experience, we've owned EVs since 2017, and the amount of money we spent in maintenance outside of tires for this freaking Model Y, because I keep running over nails apparently, is just as much, if not less, than a traditional gas car. I had a Mazda 6. I had a 2007 Mazda 6 before I bought my first Tesla. And I paid just as much in gas and oil change and, maintenance on that car than I did my, at the time, $70,000, $80,000 Model S. That breaks the equation entirely. And so the compact car will do that at lower price levels. It will do that where people are truly price conscious, where people can barely afford a $500 per month car payment, a $400 per month car payment, And I think this is where this compact car is just going to be incredibly successful. And that's where BYD is going to be incredibly successful, right? And any Chinese automaker, or really any automaker that truly focuses on affordability. So I'll stop there. Thank you so much for stopping in. Love you all very much. I hope 2024 started with a bang for everybody. If you're a Michigan or Washington fan, congratulations on your wins yesterday over Alabama and Texas, respectively. I say that with a heavy heart as somebody who lives in the Austin area. Boy, did we have a lot of upset people yesterday. But I went to Penn State, so I already went through my grieving period from over the weekend. So, all right, we'll see you tomorrow. Love y'all. Take care. Bye-bye.